All right. So let me pull up the roll. Okay. There we go. Attendance. All right. Aaliyah's here and Asia's here. Got you. Okay, I'm going to put the share screen up. Okay. Go to assignments. Yeah, we got a little bit behind with the being forced to go online, and it's a very hands-on course. So what I'm going to do is all the due dates, like you had something due to on the 28th. I'm going to push that back because we didn't get started physically. But I am going to review this. I'd like to review this video with you all. It's silicone mold making. Oops, that's the homework. Let me see. There we go. Relief casting in silicone. So this product, Mold Star 15, is a two-part uh, pourable mold. So there's going to be two types of silicone molds we're going to make this semester. One is the pour mold, where you simply glue down a end of a plastic Tupperware container, place your model in there and pour. And what they don't show in the video, they make everything look really quick, but this can be a messy process. So we see the. Are you able to see my screen, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, this is the relief, this small wheel-like structure, and so this is called a low viscosity product. So viscosity refers to the thickness of the liquid and how quickly it flows. Low viscosity is going to be very similar to water, meaning it's going to fall. So the reason why that's important for a pour mold is that it's going to fill in all the little cracks and crevices and details. It will pick up all details, including fingerprints, uh, little pieces of eyelash hair that may fall in there, or any dust or debris. So once you get your relief modeled and it's nice and clean, we want to start immediately. So this is the Tupperware, which I will have available for you all to work with, and a hot glue gun to glue this rim here. Okay. Now, what do they mean by a platinum silicone product? What do we know about the metal called platinum, Miss Rashal? Hi, is Asia there?
She sent a message and said you were breaking up on her end.
I'm here.
Okay. You back, Asia?
I,
Am I
I
still breaking
was
up
like
on your
here.
end?
Like
Okay,
not
let's
at this
see.
moment.
Okay. Right. So what do you know about platinum?
Not much.
Well, is it considered a quality metal, or is it considered a less than quality metal?
Quality.
Right. It's the actually platinum is the most precious of all metals, more precious than gold. So the fact that this product is referred to as platinum silicone means that it has a shelf life of 25 years or better. So we have a low viscosity platinum silicone. So when we see this number here, 1 to 1, what does that imply to you, Aaliyah?
Um, I don't.
Well, it simply means that you mix one part with the other part. 1 to 1 means equal parts. So when you look at this, you see two containers, one blue and one yellow. So the yellow is part A and the blue is part B. So this is one and this is one, and you mix them in equal quantities. All right, so let me see. We want to be able to secure our object to our work surface. So are you all able to hear me okay, or am I breaking up?
I can hear you.
I can hear you.
How about you, Asian? Am I breaking up? Okay, great. Yeah, so you want to be able to
Yeah,
secure
I
it
can
to
hear
the
you.
surface. Okay. The reason why you want to secure it to the base is that since the product has a low viscosity, it has a tendency to look for areas that it can flow underneath. And we don't want it to flow underneath. So we secure it with glue. So you see 1A to 1B, pour in equal amounts. Now, this is very crucial. If you pay close attention, you will see streaking between the white and the green. The goal is that they be mixed fully so you see no streaking of white. So that means when you mix it, you want to go all the way down to the bottom of the container and scrape the edges. Believe it or not, this requires a lot of patience to mix that right. It's not like mixing, it's basically unlike mixing anything you've ever mixed before. And you have what's called a pot life. So the pot life refers to, Asia's gone. I guess she is. Okay, so the pot life refers to how long the silicone is active before it sets up. So if it tells you it has a pot life of 20 minutes, you have about 20 minutes to mix your product, pour it in before it starts to set up. So the reason why you want to pour from one corner and not pour all the way around it is that you want the product to slowly creep and fill in all these gaps and crevices of your positive or the thing you're casting. So let's go back here. So you want to pour a 1/2 inch over the highest point of your form. You don't want to go much higher than that or you're just wasting product. Right. So the way we're going to do this, we're going to pour them in class after we've modeled our first reliefs out of plastilina. And that should take about a week. And we're going to be working at about that same scale. Sorry about that. Right. We're going to be working at about that same scale, roughly about the width of an outstretched hand. And you get all of the detail, as I mentioned before. Oops. All right. Right. So that's the kind of towards the middle of the process. Towards the end, we're going to pour white resin into the forms, and that's going to be what your actual grade. Well, you're going to get graded for the plastilina model, and you're going to get graded for the mold, and you're going to get graded for the positive. So just one second. I'm going to pull up one more video. Uh, all right. Okay, so I'm going to put the share screen back up. Okay. All right. And this is the video.
It's Fruit Loops, but jumbo and for snacking. Jumbo snacks.
Okay. So plastilina is a oil-based clay product. So unlike the clay we use in ceramics, plastilina never dries. So in this video, the sculptor is modeling a head. So Aaliyah, you remember the print you did for the pandemic show with the figure with the face?
Mm-hmm.
This is very similar to drawing a face, where you start off with the axis.
Mm.
Do you know what I mean by axis?
Yeah, it's like the lines to keep everything in the right size and shape.
Exactly. So plastilina is the most ideal type of modeling clay because since it doesn't dry, you have just like with an oil painting, unlimited time to detail it and to really give it a good look. Right. And so this tool, this little modeling tool, is going to help them smash, carve, and bend the material to his will. Now, the beauty of it is, since we're working on a relief sculpture, you could actually model, you could lay out a flat slab and then model the things, the shapes that you want on it, and then just stick it onto the surface. Does that make any sense to you, Aaliyah?
Yeah, it's kind of like carving a print for printmaking, right?
It's very similar. It's very similar, except it's not completely carving. Some of it is just modeling, shaping, and forming, pinching and pressing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you remember the first lecture we had in the course where we were looking at images of reliefs that we were going to work with, and we were looking at the piece dedicated to King Leopold. Do you remember that?
Somewhat.
Yeah, it was like you had the man was lying horizontally, and he had one hand on a lion, and there was like angels behind him, and so his horizontal body formed the horizon line. So you're essentially going to be working with a square piece of material, and the horizon line will be a figure or a shape of your liking. So when we meet on Tuesday, we're going to I want you to bring a few ideas, and from there we're going to make the actual original sketch of what your relief is going to look like, and then we'll get started. So you can use this technique with a wood modeling tool as well as a metal one. They both offer different benefits. Of course, with the metal, you're less likely to have the material stick to your palette. But one of the limitations of the metal is if you wanted to apply texture, since the metal is flat and smooth, the most texture you're going to get is a flat, smooth texture. Whereas with wood, it's a little easier to, make the form have more of a surface to your control and your liking. All right, so let me put the video back on. Right. So with this first relief, it can be as accurate and true to form or as stylized as you may like. But here's what's interesting. Most people, if you're able to, you tend to make the type of sculpture, your sculpture level will not exceed your drawing level for some reason. It's just like that. I know a lot of sculptors who try to get around that, but it's kind of baked in. Can you see the drawing component to this?
I can, especially with the face. Yeah.
Right. And so these two lines represent the space between the eye and the nose, which is where the ears tend to fall on most people. So this particular sculptor is really pushing accuracy. Now the only thing I don't like about these videos is since it's a time motion camera, it sends the impression that these shapes are formed quickly, which is completely false. In fact, the smaller the shape, it tends to take a little bit more time. So I do like the way that the artist is not really adding a bunch of stuff. They're kind of subtracting, cutting in. But yeah, that's the only problem I have with the video. It's just so fast. Because really this just the head alone would probably be, two 50-minute classes. But if you enjoy drawing, then you'll really enjoy this process of sculpting out the drawing. And there's some parts of sculpture that are actually easier than drawing. Like working with the variations of surface height and stuff. But if you're used to the symmetry of drawing, the symmetry that exists in sculpture will be kind of second nature. Let me go back. Yeah, these are cheekbones that the artist is trying to form, and which leads into the temple region of the skull. So this particular artist has a pretty uh, good innate sense of proportion, and they probably are able to draw really well the human figure. This is why we set up the curriculum where sculpture would be the last of the studio courses, because it draws from all other disciplines. It draws from design. It draws from drawing, of course, and it in some instances color theory. So it just depends on what you're working with.
It's hard to believe that Mint Mobile can be good at just $15 a month. So, as Mint's new owner,
Right. So these plastilina heads, they could be combined and applied to a flat surface and build up a high relief. So in the event, that you were to choose a figure, remember in the image from Leopold, King Leopold, the areas closest to the figure of the three layers, the background layer was more of a flat bas relief, and the actually I'm going to pull up the King Leopold images. Let me see if this is the page. There we go. This is the King Leopold image, just to give you a refresher. And this is kind of the formula we're using for this particular relief. So now that you've looked at that video, it should give you a better sense of how one could fashion something like this. So the higher relief element is this reclining figure, which also serves as our horizon line. The lower flatter reliefs or the bas reliefs are these angelic figures. And then you have the lion, which is almost at half, you almost see half of the dimensions around the lion. So looking at that, is there anything that comes to mind in terms of what you may find yourself wanting to make for the assignment?
I honestly have no clue.
Oh, okay. So when in doubt, always go contemporary, meaning you look at the figure, right? Let me see if I can pull that up. So you would, make this modern, like if you had to keep all the elements in place, some sort of animal. This animal could also be a thing, it could be a thing that people like. It could be like a motorcycle, or it could be uh, a speaker, or this could be, if not a figure, then it could be it could be something else. It could be, like a broken tree limb. Let's say you decided to make it about Hurricane Ida. This could be like a broken tree limb, horizontal, and, or a broken power cord. And this would be people in the heat, and this might even be like a generator. So it's like, if you look at it, it's at 1, 2, 3 elements. You have the background, the horizon line, and the foreground. So what I'd like you to do in preparation for class on Tuesday is I'd like you to take a sheet of paper, and I'd like you to do some very, very low committal thumbnail sketches, meaning little sketches no more than 2 inches by 2 inches, where you're simply just placing elements. You're not trying to get a refined drawing. You're just trying to get a sense of, proportion, and you're just creating elements. So what I'd also like you to do is come up with a list of 20 just random thoughts, that involve things, not necessarily, it could also be feelings as well, but we're trying to brainstorm. So out of those 20 things you come up with just off the top of your head, it should start to give you a sense of what you'd like to do. I mean, it could be anything for this horizon. It doesn't have to be a person. You could just have you could just have a grouping of objects, like this could be, sunglasses, and this could be, so yeah, this front object could be sunglasses. This object here could be like a toothbrush, and this could be just stuff in a bathroom, so anything that you could set up and arrange that you could look at to help you would be good. But if you really are struggling with an idea, I could give you some basics to deal with. Would you like me to offer that, or is this something you think you can kind of work on your own?
I mean, if you want to, you can. I'm sure I could come up with some things though.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just going to give you a basic working formula. So I would say in the foreground, uh, you might want to replace the animal with an object of some sort. In the horizon, you could either use a person or you could use an object. So this could be a handheld object, like a wrench, or really this could be like a still life where you have like this could be a grouping of fruit elements. It doesn't have to be a figure, because we're kind of trying to get through it quickly anyway. So why don't you just consider this you put like an apple in the front, and for here you could actually put a group of smaller fruit. You could actually put a bunch of grapes right here. That could be your horizon line, a stalk of grapes lying sideways, and in the background you have I don't know, some carrots or some other type of fruit. Yeah. So, what do you think about that? You think that's something you just sort of play with just to get started, and as you go, with the thumbnails, your ideas are going to start to flow, and then you'll, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it would be a good start to try and get something down.
Right, right. Once you get going, and since you're not putting a whole lot of energy into making the thumbnails look a certain way. You're just trying to place elements. So it's not like you're going to sit there and do a detailed drawing of everything. You're just going to place elements. If they are figures, they shouldn't have any features, any definable features, other than head, torso, legs, and feet. If it's going to be grapes, that's something you could just quickly scribble, and because and the other elements as well. I mean, there's so many directions you can go with it. I kind of really want to see what your thoughts are, but this initial image is this is a little intimidating, is it not?
Very.
Right, right. So I'm trying to get you to understand that you don't have to seek out this level of, detail and visual accuracy, but you can simplify it. Like I mean, even if you were to stick with this image, it could be simplified instead of having all the muscles on the lion and this really exacting proportional mane. You could just substitute this as just a form, and just have the outline of the line. You could have it almost, instead of rounded, it could be kind of square. And all this drapery, that's not necessary, especially for a small piece. And so I'm just, this is basically just like a model. Okay, something to the basic elements are a foreground, a horizon line, and a background. So this could even be, you could even convert this horizon right here into a mountainscape, and these angels could be clouds, and you just have a an object here of some sort, a box. As long as we have three definable objects represented, then you win. So yeah, I mean, this is like an extreme example, but the core elements, you do see the core elements that I'm talking about, right? The background up here,
Mm-hmm.
and the horizon line, this horizontal reclining figure, and then you have the foreground, horizon, background. That's all we're looking for with this particular project.
Okay.
So yeah, so try to knock out maybe a page or two of thumbnails, because you should be able to knock out a page of thumbnails in under, I mean, you could be able to knock out 2 pages of thumbnails in under 30 minutes, because you're not going to be doing a high quality rendering in each little box. You're just sort of playing with the elements until something goes, aha, this is what I want. And then now what we do need to do, when you find the stuff that you are interested in, pull up images of it so you can get
Mhm.
a better understanding of it before you start to craft it. And I promise you, this is much easier than drawing. It's way easier. You know, you can handle it. You're not limited to the flat page. And then you can work on some parts and then just stick them to the flat surface. So we're going to start off with a flat 1/4 inch high surface that we're going to cut into a rectangle. And this will all be placed on a flat piece of wood, which I'll provide. We have plenty of plastilina for you all to work with. Uh, I've done quite a few of these. I've probably done about 50 uh, professional castings. It's like once you get used to it, it's just drawing becomes a pain because this is easier than drawing. Drawing is only viewed as a flat thing, and all of the shadows and depth has to be created. Uh, you have to create an illusion of it. Whereas with sculpture, you literally make the shadow, you make the thing protrude to create the shadow and recess space. And the fact that you could like work on it in your hand and then stick it to the surface, it's going to be pretty easy. So if we were to work on something, if we were to work on something like this, I would simply craft these faces in advance and stick them on there. I would definitely craft this figure completely and then stick them to the surface. And then I would craft this lion separately and stick it to the surface. So you're not bound. You know, you can work with it in your hands and you're not bound by the flatness of the surface. I think you're going to do a great job with this. You know what I mean? I think once you get going, it gets kind of fun. And, you know, whatever we don't finish in class, you'll be able to finish up on your own. You'll be able to take it with you. Because with the first project is going to be 8 inches by 6 inches. So it's going to be horizontal. And that's pretty small, 8 by 6 inches. And so each layer would only represent like maybe a 4 inch to 6 inch long object. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, but don't be intimidated by that. That's like an extreme example. And, you know, but yeah, that's basically what I'm going to be grading you on is you created a foreground, a horizon, and a background.
Okay.
hmm All right. So, you got any questions?
No. And I mean, as long as I got that it's the foreground, background, and horizon, I should be okay with it.
Yeah, yeah. And once you start with the thumbnails, it's going to get really, at that point, it gets kind of fun. You know what I mean? Because it's like you want it to be something that is interesting to you so you can be so you can be more committed to completing it and be committed to the process. So it's like that's why I didn't just, you know, come out and say do this, you know, because I want you to take ownership of what you're making.
Right.
I mean, it could even be books, Aaliyah. I mean, you know, you're in college, you know, books is part of the college reality. You know, this could be a large vertical stack of books, and this could be a large horizontal, you know, kind of diagonal stack of books. You know, it's totally it's totally up to you. But
hmm
I wouldn't make it too complicated. I would just you know, you want it to be relative to your life and your experience. So, you know, just keep it simple. You know, it could be something, it could be, you know, we're in Louisiana, everybody loves food here. It could be something food related. You know, it doesn't even have to be human figures. It could be food related. It could be, you know, whatever your interest is. If your interest is alcohol, it could be liquor bottles. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I want you to think about your interest. Well, I kind of know one thing you're probably interested in based on the photos you took at Jermaine. You could put that in there too.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. We're all adults, so whatever you want to do, I want you to feel free to do it. But you're gonna love the finished product, and then the beauty of it is you'll have the mold, so you could make multiples of whatever you choose. You could do a Christmas scene, just like if you were thinking like merchandise, this would be finished in time to promote and sell as holiday merch. If you're really into the entrepreneurial thing, the time between Thanksgiving and a couple weeks after that, that's like your Black Friday, and a lot of people are going to be looking for original artwork to give to people. So now another thing that is helpful is if you look, if you really want to do something in particular, you could look at existing images, like gift cards or whatever, or what depending on what it is you're trying to do. You can oh, I just had a great idea. Okay, I went to Florida during the summer, and I didn't see any, but I hear Florida has iguanas everywhere. Imagine if this reclining figure were an iguana. You know what I mean? And this large thing here was a big avocado, and in the background, we have palm trees. That would say Florida right away. hmm So yeah, just keep it nice and simple. Think about your life. Think about things you enjoy. Oh, last idea that I'm going to pitch, because I'm like, wow, I might make this for myself. Uh, this this could be fried chicken related. This could be a big drumstick right here, and yeah, this could be a drumstick. This could be, just various smaller chicken parts. And in the background, we got French fries, done deal. So, as long as you are able, if you can get a smile out of yourself, you'll get a smile out of a viewer,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially after, I'm kind of looking at art as a refuge from all the despair in the world today. So lots of times I'll get to work on things that I personally find amusing, and it gives me a prolonged sense of joy well after I finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're like, mm-hmm. But anyway, Aaliyah, I think you're going to do well. So the first step is the brainstorming list, and from
Mm-hmm.
there you should start to be able to structure bits and pieces. Oh, and then that's it. So maybe somewhere halfway through the first page, like you should shoot for 10 thumbnails, 10 to 12 thumbnails per page. Somewhere around thumbnail number 5 and 6, something's going to click, and then you're going to start to envision. And once that starts, that's when, the good work is right around the corner.
Right.
hmm So, once again, any questions?
No, none that I could think of.
Okay, so let's be sure. So I'm going to go ahead and make that into an assignment for the people who I missed. Of course, you're not going to know what in the heck I'm talking about, but we still know that they need to have some thumbnail sketches for Tuesday when we meet in person. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So if there are no questions, let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
All right. You have a great day.
You too.
All right. Bye bye.